right, everybody, say hello to our NBA panel, DraftKings contributors Garion Thorne and Nick Friar with RotoWire's Nick Whalen. Fellas, NBA seeing the future time. So NBA futures coming out of the All-Star break. Let's talk about Joel Embiid.
I would love to.
He's at plus 130 right now for MVP, but Jokic is hanging close, plus 290. And you can't discount a second half run from Giannis at plus 400 or Curry at plus 850. So who are you looking at for an MVP bet right now, Garion?
Yeah, I think to me, every advanced stat in the world says this should be Nikola Jokic. And we know this is a narrative-based award. I think, we saw with a couple of the straw polls that ESPN did in the last couple of weeks, there's serious voter fatigue for Giannis, which is unfortunate because he has just as much of a claim to this award as virtually anyone else in the NBA. But, I think it's justified that Embiid and Jokic are a little bit better in terms of their odds than Antetokounmpo at this point. But I would lean Jokic just because I think he has the statistical case. Embiid could also see some of his stats plummet a little bit in the second half, or last quarter, I guess, more appropriately, with James Harden playing alongside him. So, yeah, I'll lean Jokic here. I will say quickly, while I think it's definitely going to be one of those three guys, Devin Booker at 18-1. With no Chris Paul, probably till the playoffs, if the Suns win like 68 games, again, even in that scenario, I don't think Booker probably takes this. I think the other guys just have too much of a head start. But yeah, if the Suns are like 68-14 and Devin Booker is averaging 30 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds across the last 25 games of the season, he might deserve a look too.
Nick F., how do you feel about these odds?
So I do like Steph Curry a little bit at plus 850. As much as Garion's talking about the Suns, if they go in the wrong direction and the Warriors continue to stay atop the league and then maybe get that top spot, looking at where the Warriors were last season, I think that would help Curry's case out a lot. But I do agree with him that Jokic is the best bet for this one right now, because you look at what Denver's got going on right now with no Murray all season, and they're still in the playoff hunt. The West, of course, much more respected than the East in terms of top to bottom talent. And then when you look at Embiid, too, his numbers could get hurt in the second half. If they don't perform with Harden there, that's going to hurt, too. The only thing that could help Embiid from a narrative standpoint is if Harden kind of doesn't play like he did in Brooklyn, and then Embiid and the Sixers still kind of continue to do what they've been doing the whole season. That's the only thing. But other than that, I still like Jokic more so.
All right, who do you like more, Nick W.?
Yeah, there's not a ton of value with these top three guys, and there's so much variance. I think, Nick and Garion have done a good job kind of laying out the cases for what could go right or wrong for any of them, that you wouldn't feel great, getting Nikola Jokic at basically 3-1. He would be my pick for the award. And the reason for that is I think there are the lowest expectations for Denver as a team. And, I think they've already exceeded those expectations. They're 8 games above 500 with Jamal Murray playing 0 minutes, Michael Porter Jr. playing something like 9 games and being terrible in those 9 games. So it feels like the Nuggets season is a success already, and obviously Jokic has the numbers, whereas I think we hold Milwaukee and Giannis to a higher standard. This is the defending champion. This is a team that, over the last few years was easily on pace in an 82-game season for like 60, 65 wins, and it kind of feels like they've just kind of slacked their way through the season. They can't put together winning streaks, and even though Giannis's numbers are really good, it doesn't feel like the Bucks have been successful enough or better enough that, like, compared to the Nuggets, I guess is a sloppy way of saying that, for Giannis to win this award. So I think Jokic of that top three is probably the best bet. Embiid, he's the favorite for a reason. Obviously, the Harden thing is a massive, massive variable to throw in mid-season. I think, Nick mentioned, if Harden were to sit out or get injured, maybe that would help Embiid. Certainly it would. I don't think we can bank on that. But I do think even if we see Embiid's numbers decline by, say, 10% with James Harden in the lineup, I think adding Harden makes Philly a better team. So maybe Embiid's numbers aren't as crazy over these final 25 games, but if the Sixers go 20-5 or 19-6 over the final 25 games, I think that kind of offsets any possible statistical decline from Embiid.
Hey, Friar, what's another future award that you're looking at here? So Mobley looks to have the Rookie of the Year on lock, right? Minus 750. Tyler Hero's a runaway at minus 1,400 for 6-man. John Morant looking like a lock at most improved at minus 550. So do you maybe take a long shot in one of these departments, or do you go over to Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, because there's still some time here to decide those?
So I think for most improved, as much as I love John Morant and what the Grizzlies have done this year, Desmond Bane is also right there too. They've been a great team top to bottom. And the thing is too, with John Morant out this season, the Grizzlies have done pretty well. So I wouldn't necessarily call that a lock. Miles Bridges, I do think, is deserving of being, right where he is in the odds. But I like Darius Garland a lot this one too. And Anthony Simons is another guy who I think is deserving of this award, but he's not going to sniff this at all. Unless the Blazers go on a run. But we talk about the Sixers and why you can't bank on Embiid and all that. So I think if you want a little bit more of a long shot, I think Garland is a good play here. But my favorite one, I think, when we're looking at these futures awards, aside from Jokic for MVP, I think that JB Bickerstaff for Coach of the Year has a legitimate case. I know Monty Williams is ahead of him in the odds right now, but no one expects the Cavs to go off like they have this season, and they're still, right there in the hunt for the playoffs and everything in a comfortable spot. And could win their division this year. And they've dealt with adversity throughout the course of this season. I know they added Karis LeVert and pivoted well, but still losing Sexton, Rubio was having a good year too. So I think Bickerstaff, especially given where they were last year, is a good guy to go with for Coach of the Year.
Whalen, what's another future award you like?
So I kind of like Kevin Love at 25-1 for Sixth Man of the Year, and the odds, which Tyler Hero is minus 1,400. That implies that he essentially has this locked up, and he probably does. But narrative-wise, I think Kevin Love has one of the strongest Sixth Man of the Year narratives you'll ever see. I mean, I think coming into the year, we all thought there was a chance that he might just be sent home. Like, he had shown no indication that he wanted to come off the bench and play 20 minutes a game. And instead, he's been perfect in that role. He's averaging 22 minutes, been super efficient, finally staying healthy for the first time in 5 years. And obviously, he's been a key cog in Cleveland, being one of the biggest surprises of the year. So if we see Tyler Hero falter down the stretch, or maybe there's an injury and he misses a bunch of time, I do think there's a chance that Kevin Love could sneak into that debate. But I'm going to go to Coach of the Year as well and agree with Nick here. I don't understand why Monty Williams is minus 330, and his odds actually got better after they lost Chris Paul, which I guess that part I understand. But this team basically runs itself. Chris Paul is kind of halfway the coach of this team, and I do think there was a case for Monty Williams to win Coach of the Year last year. He did not win it, and now it feels like we're kind of handing this to him as a makeup award. And I don't think the Suns, without Chris Paul, are going to win like 68 games. And normally when you have a really high win total like that, the coach automatically gets the award. But Taylor Jenkins, man, at 6-1 for the 41-19 Memphis Grizzlies, who have already smashed their over-under on the year. 9 out of 10 years, Taylor Jenkins is like minus 10,000 favorite to win this award right now. And he's third behind Monty Williams and JB Bickerstaff. It's crazy.
Dude, JB Bickerstaff seems like a pretty good, solid pick right there, Garrett Bear. Plus money on him. It's incredible how fast things have turned around in Cleveland. I'm cleaning my hands because she just sneezed.
I sneezed. I don't know what.
It's disgusting. The desk is smothered with moisture.
You gotta be safe. Gotta be careful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, Cleveland has a legitimate case to win a lot of these awards in some capacity. It probably will just end up being that Evan Mobley wins Rookie of the Year, and that's kind of like the Cavaliers award for the year. So maybe voters don't feel like they have to give, Kevin Love Sixth Man, although I do really like Love's case. I actually bet him when he was 60-1. I mean, 25-1, a little less appealing, just considering, how strong some people feel about Tyler Hero. Like, apparently there's like unnamed scouts who feel like he was robbed of his all-star spot this year. So who knows, man? People feel ways about Tyler Hero that I will never understand. The John Morant stuff for Most Improved Player, I just don't like betting on Most Improved Player, mostly because I don't understand it. How someone who was the second overall pick in the draft, making a jump in his second season to his third season, is considered Most Improved, I don't get it. John Morant was really good. We knew that. So the fact that he became an all-star shouldn't really shock anybody. I just don't like betting on that award because the rationale for it can change so many different ways. So I'm going to look at Defensive Player of the Year. I think this could kind of be like Giannis's consolation prize. And it's interesting that he has the third lowest odds to win this award at plus 425. Rudy Gobert obviously is like the Lou Williams of this category in terms of like Lou just won Sixth Man every year because he could. Gobert has to be mentioned, but Gobert and Draymond Green have both missed huge sections of this season. And while the Bucks defense is clearly not as good this year as it's been in years past, they are 5 points per 100 possessions better when Giannis is on the floor. Like, I don't think it's Giannis's fault by any means. He's still playing at an incredible level in terms of his individual defense. And I also think, like, you got to look at this in unique ways as well. Like, Giannis leads the league in free throw attempts. Like, that helps your defense. that helps Milwaukee not have to get into these transition scenarios and set up a defense. Like, Giannis is so important to that team's defense that I think maybe just with how many games the other guys have missed, with maybe some voter fatigue for Gobert, that this could be the award. They're like, yeah, Giannis can't win MVP again, but we'll give him Defensive Player of the Year.
All right, let's head on over to team futures, fellas. So what's
Please.
a team future you like right now? Now, this could be a team to sneak into the playoffs, like maybe the Hornets
That
at
would
plus
be
400.
something else, yeah.
Or perhaps a surprise division or conference winner. Cavs are plus 320 to win the Central. Celtics plus 1,100 to win the East. Team future you like right now?
Yeah, I don't mind betting Denver. That was one of the ones I had written down. I also think you can start looking at like the team win totals. One that stood out was the aforementioned Memphis Grizzlies, led by Taylor Jenkins. Right now, that total is 54.5. They are 41-19 at the All-Star break. They've got 22 games left. It's actually the fewest of any team in the NBA. So this could get a little dicey, but they've been winning games at a 68% clip. To go over this number, they would just have to win 14 of their last 22 games. That is a 63% clip. And they have the third easiest remaining schedule in the NBA by win percentage. They've got 10 games left against these 6 teams combined: Orlando, Houston, Oklahoma City, Indiana, San Antonio, and the New Orleans Pelicans, who don't seem like they're getting Zion back, sadly. So I just think, not that those are like 10 automatic wins or anything, but they've got a pretty clear path to getting those 14 wins. And I mean, it's a big gap to make up to get to Phoenix, obviously, but with Chris Paul hurt, I think this Memphis team, which is just, as LeBron can tell you, full of irrational confidence, they might think they can get the number 1 seed in the West. They probably think this is wide open. So these games matter to them, and I think they're going to try as hard as they can for the remainder of the season. So at even money, plus 100, I like the over 54.5 for Memphis.
All right, Nick F., team future.
Yeah, I'm with Garion on the Grizzlies for sure on this one, but I think one that initially, we talk about the Celtics, right, winning the East at plus 1,100. I do think that them to win their division is reasonable because they're right there with the Sixers, and things could go the wrong way for the Sixers with James Harden. I know you add James Harden on paper, yes, looks better. The team obviously gets better. But I like the Nets actually at plus 1,300 to win the Atlantic. They got 23 games left on their schedule, and they're only 4.5 games back in the division. And look, I understand you had like what I just said about James Harden, but if Kevin Durant comes back, that's going to make a huge difference. They can absolutely make those 4.5 games up in this short period of time. And enough that, I'm willing to take advantage on these long odds.